Sonny Edwards' lack of power is what ruined his career. He just announced his retirement after a disappointing loss against Galal Yaffe, a fight that he was pretty much expected to win. Edwards is a former IBF flyweight champion and had 4 successful title defenses before having his first loss against Bam Rodriguez. Before the Bam fight, he was 20-0 with only 3 knockout victories. Eventually, not having that knockout power or just some power in general is going to catch up with you, and it certainly did with Edwards in his career. Sure, Edwards was very good at boxing, he could rely on outpointing his opponents. But eventually, if you want to move up or unify your division or go undisputed in your division, you're going to have to face different guys who have power. So when that fight against Bam Rodriguez was announced, I pretty much favored Jesse Rodriguez pretty easily by stoppage, even though, of course, Sonny Edwards, undefeated, champion, IBF champion, okay, very good at boxing. But I just favored Bam because that lack of power that Edwards had, he stood no chance. Now, you don't gotta knock out your opponents every single fight. Of course not. You don't gotta knock down your opponents every fight. Of course not. But what you have to do is have your opponents respect you by having some power. Okay, if you don't have any power, your opponents are gonna walk you down. We saw that with the Rodriguez fight, and we saw that with the last Yaffe fight. You gotta have some power to make your opponents respect you, to keep them off you. If you throw a good hook every once in a while, a good right hand every once in a while, a good uppercut right once in a while, that really shocks your opponent, keeps them off you. It's gonna give you space, okay, instead of letting them walk you down, getting you on the ropes, which is a terrible place to be, or getting you in a corner, which is also a terrible place to be. And of course, landing some power shots is gonna help you on the scorecards. If the judges see you land some good power shots that really affect your opponent, they're most likely gonna give you that round instead of just tagging your opponent. So when this Yaffe fight was announced, alrighty, yeah, sure, he had that win against Adrian Curiel, Edwards did back in June, even though it was a doctor stoppage. He was outboxing him, sure, but a guy like Galal Yaffe, a guy who's much bigger, despite being in the same division, but a bigger guy. The way I was watching him fight too, I just knew that Edwards' lack of power was going to be difficult. I think it really could hurt him in this fight later on in the rounds, and it certainly did. But also with Edwards, we saw when he was in the corner between the rounds, he told his coach he doesn't even want to be here right then and there. Okay, the coach should have said, the manager should have said, whoever that is, the head trainer should have said, all right, do you want me to call this off? Edwards probably would have said yeah, and they called it off. Even if Edwards didn't say anything, the head trainer should have looked to call the fight off. When your fighter is not in a good mental state, whether it's during the fight or before the fight, it's very risky business. Boxing is a dangerous sport, alrighty? People will get very seriously injured, people die. If your boxer is not 100% in it, you do not want him in there, alright? The trainer should have called it off, should have told the referee, it's over, and go from there. Once your boxer tells you that he does not want to be there anymore, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. If Edwards would have got severely injured, that would have backfired on the coach. But either way, alright, let's appreciate Edwards' career because he was very solid. Early 2020s, he was very solid. From 2021 to 2023, alright, one of the better boxers in the world, especially in the lower weight divisions, especially the British boxers. And lack of power could help you early on in your career by simply outboxing. But as you get older, alrighty, you're not going to have that speed. You're not going to have that endurance. You're going to have to start to rely a little bit more on power to make your opponents respect you. That's the third time I'm saying it this video. You got to make your opponents respect you. If they don't respect you, they're going to walk you down and bully you. We saw that with Rodriguez, and we saw that with Yaffe. And that's why I wanted to make this video. The lack of power that Edwards had throughout his career was what ruined his career. He could have been so much better. He could have gave Rodriguez a better fight. And listen, that fight was good. Edwards went out on a shield in that fight. No doubt about it. No disrespect to losing to talented fighter like Bam Rodriguez. No doubt about it. Alrighty? But what he should have done from that fight was just get in the weight room. Alright? His corner should have had him just get in the weight room, lift a couple of weights once or twice a week. I mean, you can't not have power. Just get in the weight room. Do some squats. Alrighty? Do some explosive stuff. Get some power to you. But he really left it all in that Bam fight. I feel like he shaved a couple years off his career, of course, in that fight. Got beat up, got walked down, but he went out in a warrior. That is a great thing to see, of course. Comes back, Adrian Curiel had a pretty good performance, even though it was a doctor stoppage. And then Galal Yaffe did not even want to be in there. All right, didn't really show any signs of improvement. He was getting walked down since the bell rung. First round, he was already getting backed up, jumping around, bouncing around the corner on the ropes. Not good. Not good. So the lack of power is what really affected Sonny Edwards. You know, I hope he finds peace, though. Of course, that's a bad state to be in when you just don't want to be there. 28 years old, still young. Let's see how we could, go throughout his life now. I hope, he finds something else, maybe gets into commentary. He's pretty good, actually, at commentary. He was doing some commentary for some other big fights. I forget what it's called. Analyst, not an analyst, but whatever it's called. But anyway, he was just, giving his boxing professional advice. Maybe he can make a career out of that. Good for him. 28 years old, though. I don't know what he's going to do. Open up a gym, coach. 28 years old, you're gonna have to find a way to make a living for another 20 years. Let's see how he does it. Maybe he's not done. It would have been better to see him take a break, not so much retire. 28 years old, he could take a year break, get in the gym, relax, find his mind, and then get back to it instead of rushing back to it. This was his second fight this year. I would have liked to see him take a break, not so much retire. Maybe he'll come back out of retirement. I hope he does. But, maybe he just lost his mind, just not there. And hopefully he gets motivated again and comes back. That'll be a great thing to see. But either way, just goes to show you got to have power. You can get away with it early on, but as later on in your career, when you want to start winning more belts, want to start to be greater, you got to have power. You got to make your opponents respect you by really shaking them up, really keeping them off you. Let me know what you guys think. Alrighty, what do we think about Sonny Edwards? Do you agree with what I'm saying? His lack of power ruined his career? Do you think Sonny Edwards is going to come back? What do you think of Sonny Edwards' career? I'm out, guys. Peace.